What's cracking? Ooh, I got a surprise for y'all today. Check out this game right here called Kill Them All. Coming from Nocturnal. I got a chance to interview brother at PAX East 2024 in Boston this year. It was a phenomenal time. Let's go on ahead and get into what one of the people that walked up to the stand had to say about the game after giving it a try for themselves and seeing it. Let's get into the action.
What'd you just think of that round, man?
That was pretty good. Yeah, it was really cool.
What was pretty cool about it?
Definitely the overwhelming amount of enemies and the action. It has a very retro vibe to it that reminds me of games like Doom and I don't know, even like Serious Sam, that style. So yeah.
So from here, it only gets better. I ended up actually interviewing one of the developers for the actual game itself, and he talks about all of the crazy stuff that they have going on with that game, how they decided on enemy count, how they decided on implementing the kind of vampire survival and Doom-ish feels. Let's go on ahead and just jump into the meat and potatoes of the actual interview. Let's go.
All right, so the game we're showing off today is called Kill Them All. It's a survival shooter, a survival roguelike FPS, or an FPS survival roguelike is the term that we're going with. It's very much inspired by boomer old school classic shooters, Doom, Quake. Also pulls a lot from the survival genre, the Vampire Survivors kind of genre that's super popular on Steam right now.
Yep, you guys heard that right. Vampire Survivor and Doom mixture. Can you talk about any more dopamine? I mean, geez Louise. You're going to be bouncing off of the freaking walls playing this game and having an absolute blast. You're going to be feeling satisfied constantly. You're going to be moving massive hordes of folks all over the place and upgrading weapons. How can it get any better than that? Let's go. Now let's go on ahead and get back to the interview and see what more he has to say about this dope looking game.
What really caught my eye is just all the amount of enemies that are around. It's really insane. Can you talk about the number of enemies that you have on the battlefield?
Yeah, so in the final product, we're going to have 10,000 simultaneous enemies on screen that'll run on any graphics card in the past 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be, for example, RTX 2050, GTX 1660, that sort of level. In the demo today, it's 5 minutes. Over those 5 minutes, we spawned 13,000 enemies to watch them. And the system, there's no limit. Like, we are saying 10,000 because we want everyone to play this, so that means 2,000 series cards have to come. But we also want to include a benchmarking mode so that if you do have a beefy rig, you just crank up the enemy count until your system melts.
You're trying to disrespect the 49.
Yeah.
So you think you tough? You think you're tough, huh? Go on ahead and give this game a try. See what happens. He said 10,000 enemies for a low-level rig or console. You think you got a beefy rig? You think you're tough? You think you got enough? And you think you got enough juice in the system? You think you could push it? Go on ahead and give it a push. Give it a push. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when you have all these enemies on your screen. Don't go crying to them. Don't go crying to them when you gotta check your temps. I'm just saying, this game looks pretty hot. Y'all, let's go on ahead and get back to it and see what more he has to say in this dope interview.
So the movement mechanic in it feels pretty loose and very much like a Doom, like you said earlier. You have the burst and stuff like that. What kind of upgrades come with that kind of Vampire Survivor style of, roguelikeness?
Yeah, so the movement itself is like very fast. We're taking inspiration from games like Apex and Titanfall 2, where you can get a lot of air, move really quickly. In terms of the upgrades, for the demo today, we've got the typical upgrades you'd expect in the genre. Hey, more pickup radius, so I pick up more gems, more health, that sort of stuff. But then we have 2 secondary weapons that players can check out today. One is the laser wire that shoots out a horizontal laser beam.
Yeah, it's green, right?
Yeah, that's green. It'll cut through about 10 rows of enemies and just lay them down. And then the other is the grenade launcher, which, hey, splash damage.
Yeah.
Both are auto fire because our vision is...
I like that idea, actually, because that gives you an opportunity to just focus on shooting with all the amount of enemies that you got to deal with right in front of you. Something you can just kind of be facing it and it just, blows it up.
Exactly. We really like seeing players playing on the show today, on the floor today. And what we've been seeing is they hit this flow state very easily where they're taking out these thousands of enemies. And the auto-firing weapons sort of like helps with that. And then it also helps sell like the low-key inspiration for us of something like Power Wash Simulator or Lawn Mowing Simulator or Shipbreaker, where it's just, you're not thinking too hard, you're in a flow state, and it's just like satisfaction, just little dopamine hits of satisfaction, just nonstop for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that sense of satisfactory when I run around to pick up the orbs and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that's one of the selling factors of like a Vampire Survivor.
Can I talk a bit about like that loop for us? So we don't despawn the bodies when they go down. So if you take on a horde of 13,000, there are going to be 13,000 corpses remaining.
Hold on a second. Hold up. Run that back. What did he just say? What did he just say? That's nuts.
We don't despawn the bodies when they go down. So if you take on a horde of 13,000, there are going to be 13,000 corpses remaining. And there's this risk reward where when you kill an enemy and the gem, your XP drops, it drops in the middle of the horde. You can't run into the middle of the horde and get that XP. So you have to get the horde away from the XP, away from your gems, and then you can come back and you just sort of survey the damage you've done as you walk through this field of your enemy's corpses and pick up your rewards and get stronger, and then you go find the horde again and re-engage.
I'm not gonna lie to you, this game looks kind of fire. But anyways, let's go and figure out, like, when does this game release? When does it come out? What's going on with it? Is it still in development? What's happening?
Yeah, so we came into the show kind of low-key. We haven't even officially announced yet. We're going to be dropping an announced trailer and our Steam page in the fall. And with the release for spring of next year. And then in the meantime, we're having players sort of like sign up for our email newsletter just so that we can keep them informed, like, hey, this is the day we're dropping on Steam, come check it out. Hey, this is the day we release, come check it out.
No doubt. All right, so the last question I kind of got to ask, or actually I got 2 more questions for you. One of them being, what engine are you guys using?
Yeah, we're using Unreal Engine 5 to do this. Okay. So we really lucked out. We've got a lot of ex-Epic talents, a lot of people who worked on Unreal Engine 5 itself when it was in development, working on our game. We came up with this idea of wanting to do something with a massive enemy count, and it just happened to perfectly dovetail with what the tech people at our company had a hobbyist interest in anyway. When we envisioned this game, at first we were imagining 400 to 600 enemies on screen, similar to what you would see in a game like Days Gone. And then on a Monday morning, our CTO came in and was like, oh yeah, I implemented the crowd system over the weekend. It's 15, we can do 15,000 enemies or more. And I was like, oh, well, that's a different game. All right.
You're like, turn up, let's go. like, let's get this popping. Are there any aspirations for like, multiplayer at all in the future?
Yeah, we don't know what the player count's going to be exactly for we want to target, but with 13,000, 10,000 enemies on screen, that's a lot to sync between different players. So we're definitely going to have multiplayer, but the exact shape that takes is going to depend on what we find in our investigation of like what we can do with the tech.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I tell you what, man, I'm really excited to see what you're cooking. Because as you said, this is just the beginning. What platforms are you looking to drop on?
Right, so we'll be dropping on PC at first. Right now, like, we're only focusing on that. We do have a contingency plan for consoles. You know, if this is a hit, we want everyone to play it. So our minimum spec on PC is tied to the consoles. So the reason that we say we can do 10,000 enemies on any graphics card in the past 5 years is because that's about where the Xbox Series S stands. And so if we can run on those cards, we can run on there. And we feel we have a pretty good chance.
That's very telling. Well, man, I appreciate your game, your gameplay, being able to have the opportunity to play it, and being able to have the opportunity to sit here and interview you about your upcoming game. I'm proud of you, man.
Well, hopefully you guys had a good time checking this game out. Again, this game is called Kill Them All by Nocturnal Studio. Make sure you guys check them out. I put everything that you need to see about this game in the description below. So if you want to see updates about this game, there's a link for it. Make sure you click that and you'll get updates in the future as they continue to cook this game. And when it comes out, you can go on ahead and give that console or PC a good old testing. But this is your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming signing out from TSWS Gaming, letting you know to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Deuces.